Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. My name is Chris McCulloch. If I haven't met you yet, I am an accounting professor here at William Jewell College, and I'm excited to teach cost managerial accounting with you in this online format. So I want to make a quick introduction video to first introduce myself and also to give you a little bit of an overview of what documents you have available in the course and what the course is sort of going to look like, especially because it's in an online format. So I'm going to dive right in and kind of share my screen. And then I will tell you a little bit about myself as we sort of progress through that. But I mainly want to use this video to highlight some resources that are available and give you an overview of what's in the course. I have posted a little bit of information about me under our first discussion board, which I'll highlight here in a minute. So you'll have that as well. But I'm going to go ahead and pull up. Our web browser and go to your Brightspace course for Accounting 341. And when you do, I just kind of want to run through some of this information. First thing I want to address is the syllabus. If you go to general course information, again, if you enter into our Brightspace course and it sort of looks like this, you can just go to the general course information tab here, or you can go under content here and then click on the general course information here. And here's where a lot of overall documents are going to be useful for you for the course to sort of orient you with what we'll be doing this semester. So to run as a quick run through here under the general course documents, that first submodule right here, we have the syllabus, we have a homework calendar schedule, and I'm going to talk about these here in a minute. We have office hour times of when I'm available, and also a Zoom link for office hours if we need to meet. And I'll talk about how you schedule that here in a minute, but you can find all that information under general course documents under the general course information. Then under additional resources, course resources, I have some additional documents. Some of the main ones that are going to be important for you though is this ACC 341 textbook student-wide resources document, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, but you want to kind of bookmark that. That's going to be an important document for you. Additionally, at least initially, when you start working with Tableau, your instructions on how to download Tableau can be found here as well, and that's going to be important too. There's some other information that'll let you browse sort of through here and decide what's useful for you or not, like shortcut keys for using Excel, because you're going to be using Excel a lot here, a basic tutorial for Excel formulas, that sort of stuff. If staying under the general course information module, if you go down to the next module, you have your Connect documents. Here's how you're going to register for Connect. And I'm going to talk about what Connect is here in a minute if you don't have experience for that. But this will give you instructions on how to register for Connect. It's pretty straightforward as you do it, but the instructions are listed here. And then the last submodule under the module for general course information is Cubicle. And this is just going to be a sort of Dropbox where you're going to submit your completion certificates for the Cubicle trainings that you are required to complete for this course. So that's everything under the general course information tab or module. So now that you're familiar with that, I want to walk you through a couple documents. And in particular, I want to walk you through the syllabus. So if you click on this link, it will take you to the syllabus. And I've got that pulled up here. So I want to run through a little bit of information on here. First, here's the name of the course that you should be in. So if this does not seem right to you, make sure you reach out to me to make sure you're in the right course. But we're looking at Cost Management Accounting 1. And this is taught during, for this particular semester, although your semester may be different if you're watching at a different time, but this is taught section OLA 2. Again, if you're watching this in a different semester, it may be in a different section. On the left-hand side, is my information. So here's my name, Chris McCulloch. My contact information for phone number, my contact information for email. Email is really probably the best way to at least initially try to get a hold of me. If you ever want to schedule office hours, here's my office hour times. But if you want to hold a Zoom appointment, and since we're doing this in online format, that may be the case. You are also welcome to stop by my office, though, if you are taking this online, but you are on the ground at Jewell. You are also welcome to stop by my office too. It's in Jewell Hall Room 109. But if you're wanting to schedule a Zoom appointment, just feel free to reach out via email. Again, my Jewell email is probably going to be the best way to contact me. And then we'll schedule a Zoom chat. These office hours are the ones that, you can pretty much always reach me at, but that doesn't mean I can't be reached at other times. So usually I try to respond pretty quickly, especially to email. So um, just email me if a different time is what you need, and we'll try to set something up to make sure that we can connect. Here on the right-hand side next to my information is our overall business and leadership department mission, as well as specific program learning objectives for the accounting program as a whole. If you scroll down further, you'll see a course description for this specific course. And so because this is cost managerial accounting, we are looking at the fundamentals of managerial and cost accounting, including things like cost benefit analyses, behavioral considerations, cost volume profit or CVP analyses, ethics as we make these sort of decisions and construct these data sets that we're going to be looking at. Management control systems, performance measures, basic costing systems, etc. So you can sort of look through, but these are the various different topics that we're going to hit as we go throughout the semester. The prerequisite for this course is Accounting 111. So if you haven't had that yet, I suggest you take that course first, and then feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Course objectives that we have here. This course is going to examine skills and tools that are necessary to develop and understand and utilize and apply accounting information, particularly as it relates to planning, controlling, and making decisions within a business. You're going to see that this course differs in a large part by the users of the information, whereas financial accounting, which was probably your first accounting course that you took, has external users, people outside the company. This course, managerial accounting, is for people inside the company that are making decisions. And because of that, that will drastically change the way we construct information and the way we analyze that information, as we'll talk about as the semester progresses. So again, we're using this cost and management accounting information for decision making and budgeting and strategic analysis for people within the company. Here's some specific course learning outcomes that we have listed out. Again, we're not going to go, I don't want to make this video too long, and we still have quite a bit to cover, but you can look over all the specific objectives that we're sort of looking at. I highlighted some of them above. This course is going to be for 4 credit hours, and it's online asynchronous in its format, which means we won't be meeting in person. You'll be going over the information that's posted onto Brightspace and Connect in order to complete the course requirements. But again, if you have any questions or need any assistance, please feel free to reach out, and I'd be happy to schedule either a Zoom chat, or again, you're welcome to stop by my office or something like that as well. It's important that you know that we adopt in this course the inclusive learning environment policy at Jewel, and that means that we're respecting individuals and their diversity and making sure that we do that even though we're online, that we still do that with the way in which we write our posts or communicate with one another. Here are some course materials that are listed. One of the main things you want to be aware of is the required text. The text is called Cost Accounting, a Data Analytics Approach. And this is a new text that was developed in 2024 that focuses on our reshaping of the way we look at accounting, especially in the managerial side, for a focus on data analytics. So it's an interesting sort of way of examining managerial accounting concepts in the context of the way technology and data are shaping the new job requirements that we have in accounting. This text is going to be an electronic text, and you'll access it through Connect. So it's important that you understand when you purchase this text, you'll probably just get an access code. It should probably come through your email if you buy it through the bookstore. I'm going to show you another way that you can purchase this too directly through the publisher, which may be cheaper. You'll have to check the prices. Oftentimes it is cheaper to go through the publisher, but not always. And so I will show you how to get that through another way as well. But if you're buying it through the bookstore, they should send you an access code through your email that you'll then use to redeem your access to the McGraw-Hill Platform Connect, which is where your textbook will reside. And I'll show you that again here in just a minute. Keep in mind that when you get this textbook, you do have to have access to Connect with LearnSmart. If you don't, you won't be able to complete the course. So all of your homework problems, all your exams, all your reading assignments, those are all going to live on Connect. So it's essential that you have access to it. You'll also need access to Cubicle, which is a software training platform. In this particular class, we are going to focus on the softwares for this semester in Excel and Tableau. And so it's important that you have training on those softwares so that you can effectively utilize the tools. in order to perform the analyses that we're going to be talking about in managerial accounting. So Cubicle is the software training platform that we're going to use to make sure that you feel comfortable with these software tools. And so you'll need to have access to that as well. You should receive an email indicating that you need to either purchase access if you don't have it already, or if you don't receive that email, you can simply try to log into cubicle.com if you've already bought access to Cubicle for another class. A lot of our business classes and all of our accounting classes at Jewel are going to utilize Cubicle. And so because of that, you may have access already through another course, and you do not need to buy access again if that is the case. And so if you try to log into Cubicle and you do have a valid license, it should last for 1 year from your purchase date, then just go ahead and go to the appropriate learning path, which I'll show you here in a minute, to access the Cubicle trainings that are required for this class, and you should be good to go. So before we move on, let's talk about Connect and talk about Cubicle to make sure that you feel comfortable with what you're doing there and how you access the information. So first thing I'll do is Connect. I told you previously that if you want to learn how you access Connect, you can go to the Connect documents and look at this PDF. It'll give you step-by-step instructions. But simplest way to do it is simply go to one of the weeks. So I'm going to go to the first week, and I go to one of the chapters then. So I'm going to go to chapter 1, and I'm going to find the Connect links. And I'm just going to click on one of the Connect links. It doesn't matter which one, as long as you click on one of them. And then it should redirect you to a Connect landing page, where you will then enter in some information and create an account if you don't have a Connect account, if that's something you've never done, or you log back in if it's something you have done. And once you do that, it's going to give you the option after you've created an account. It's going to give you the option to either enter in a code. So if you have an access code that you've bought from the bookstore, that's where you'll enter in your code. Or it'll give you the option to purchase a code directly from the publisher. And so check the price. It may be cheaper to purchase from the publisher, although it may not, but that's another option that you have. And then a third option will be that you get a 2-week free trial for Connect. So if you haven't bought a code yet and you're not ready to buy it from the publisher, or you're not even sure if you're going to stay in the class, I always recommend students starting out with that 2-week free trial, and that'll allow you a little bit of time to figure out whether the class is right for you, and how, if you need that time, how you're going to purchase the text, if you need a little bit more time to make that decision, whether you want to go from the publisher or whether you want to go from the bookstore. Ultimately, when you make one of those 3 decisions, and so if you don't know which one, I'd say by default is just go with the 2-week free option, and then you will get into the course. So it should look something like this when you click on the Connect homepage. So keep in mind, if you clicked on one of the assignments here, it'll ask you if you want to go to the assignment or if you want to go to the Connect homepage. And I recommend just going to the Connect homepage. If it doesn't look like this, it might have taken you to the to-do version of the class, like this version of seeing the Connect homepage. So to get to where I'm looking at, simply click on classes, click on the class that we're in reference to, and then it'll look then like this. And so here's what Connect looks like. If you go to any one of the chapters, so like, let's take, for instance, the first chapter here. You'll see several things. I try to keep things pretty consistent each chapter. So you'll see several things listed. The first thing listed is going to be Learn Smart. This is going to be a reading assignment. I'll show you what it looks like here in just a minute. But this is going to be a reading assignment that sort of adapts to your learning level as you go through and sort of answer questions about the reading. It'll sort of adapt to tell you need to focus on this subject or that subject. And its goal is to minimize your amount of reading time while also maximizing your retention of the topic. So I'll show you that here in just a minute. But this is going to be one of your assignments. So whenever I say that you have like homework for a particular chapter, one of the homeworks that you have always for every single chapter that we cover is going to be your Learn Smart reading assignment. The next thing, whenever I say homework for your chapter, that you should think about is going to be the chapter problem. So in every single chapter, you're going to see chapter problems that you have to do. And this is where we have application of the material. So in the Learn Smart, we're really just doing some reading assignments. Here in the problems, we're actually applying the material that you've read about in more of a a from scratch sort of basis of a problem, whereas Learn Smart might be a multiple choice type thing or maybe a fill in the blank type thing. The problems are going to be more from scratch, where you're creating different analyses without some sort of option. And as we progress, it'll be even more so. In the first chapter, you might see some matching exercises and that sort of thing, but as we progress and we get more down in the details of the information, you'll see that the problems become more complex. So when I say homework, what I mean is these two things, your Learn Smart and your problems. Those are both homework assignments for every single chapter. So you'll see any of the chapters that we have, you'll see those every single time. Okay. The next thing that you'll see under this chapter heading, each one of the chapter heading, is the Excel and Tableau labs. Now, these are also required assignments, but you can see that the due date for these is not until the end of the semester. So while you have to complete your chapter labs, your Excel and Tableau labs, and this is where you're going to be using these software tools to really get even more application of the concepts, but also build up particular skills with each one of these software tools. Um, these are not going to be due though until the end of the semester, but you do have to complete those as well. So you want to keep that on your radar. I always recommend students keep up to date as much as they can as we progress through each chapter, but keep in mind that this class may move quickly. If, for instance, if this is a second 7 weeks class, as it is some semesters, or a first 7 weeks class, as it is some semesters, but it's still for 4 credit hours, it moves at a faster pace. And so you got to keep in mind that while this isn't due until the end of the semester, um, it will come up quickly. And so you want to stay on top of that. The last thing you'll see in each of the chapters is going to be this optional multiple choice. This MC is multiple choice practice. This is not for any points, but you may find this beneficial as you start to prepare for your exam. So when you do these from scratch problems, you'll get problem or you get experience or practice trying the problems from scratch, sort of without any option as an answer. But as you take your exams, while you might have those types of problems, you might also have multiple choice types problems. And so you might want extra practice on that too. And I've posted that here. So these are all the items in Connect that I wanted to make sure you're aware of. To give you a sense of what some of them look like, let's go to the Learn Smart real quick here. We click on the Learn Smart and try to begin this. What it'll do is give you the option to either start with the reading for each one of the chapters or to start with questions. Ultimately, just kind of skip to the chase so that you know to get points for this assignment, you have to complete the questions correctly. In a sense, you address all the concepts that are listed, and sometimes you have to answer multiple questions for each concept to be effectively addressed. But once you do, Learn Smart should give you a message that says you've completed everything you need to do. You've now got full points for the assignment. And so if you don't complete all the questions that you need to, then you won't get full points. But as long as you do complete all those, then you should get full points. And as long as you've accessed this assignment through Brightspace and you click on the links that we show here through Brightspace, it should pull your grade back in to Brightspace once you've completed it on Connect. And so you should be able to go back into Brightspace and check your grade to kind of see whether or not you got full points. And I'll show you how much each of these are worth here in just a little bit. But let's start with the reading so you can get a sense of what it kind of looks like. What Connect is doing here, what LearnSmart is doing, is it will highlight the most important concepts, according to the authors, the most important concepts for each one of the chapters. And they should be starting off highlighting yellow. So if you want to, you can just skip to the yellow highlights and start reading those. Make sure you scroll all the way through the page, go to the next page there, or you can kind of go to each one of the highlights if you push this button. But make sure you're going all the way through each one of the sections here. Don't just think that there's only things written that you can see in your view here. So make sure you're scrolling through. So if you want, you can read just the highlights. And once you spend enough time, LearnSmart will even prompt you to do this. But eventually, once you've read through the highlights, you can go to the questions. Or if you're like me and I just like all the contacts, you can just sort of read the entire chapter or read sections of the chapter. And eventually, you'll want to click, though, to go to the questions. And once you go to the questions, you can see your concepts right up here that you have to fill up. And there'll be multiple questions that you have to answer in order to fill up each one of those concepts. But essentially what you're doing is going to answer these questions, and then you're going to rate yourself based on your confidence. There's a little bit of metacognition here. Rate yourself on the confidence you have for each one of the questions. And then what's going to happen is LearnSmart is going to track all this data. And what it's going to do is it's going to change not just the highlights here. So if you start to get some of these questions wrong, it will turn the highlights red on the areas you need to focus. And if you get them all right or feel really good about them based on how you've been answering and your confidence level, it'll turn it green. And it will track to show you, number one, whether or not you should revisit these narrative portions in the chapter. But number two, it'll help you understand what you think you're comprehending, but not actually comprehending based on the answers that you have to the question. And then all this data is stored so that you can then revisit it as you start to prepare for the exam. And so that's the LearnSmart assignment. The next thing that we want to do is then look at the problems. So if we click onto the problems here, it's the next part of the chapter. And here's where we're going to be seeing some application of the material. So you'll go through each one of these problems. Like I said, a little bit, and for the first chapter is going to be some matching, but there are some analyses that are done here as well. And so you'll go through these problems, and then when you're done there, you'll submit it. You can submit it as many times as you want. And in order to get points for the problems, you do have to answer the problem correctly, but I do give you the option to check your work there as you try to answer those questions. And so you're allowed to attempt the problem as many times as you'd like, and I will only take your highest score as your score for that homework exercise. Okay, when you do the Excel and Tableau labs as well, you go in here and start these. These will give you some instructions as well. And actually within these, you should have video instructions as well to kind of take you through the exercise and help you understand how you're applying this material and utilizing these software tools. So don't forget to do that as well. Okay, that should be everything that I wanted to make sure you cover for the Connect assignments. Now, one thing I want to make sure and highlight that students sometimes forget is while LearnSmart here, an assignment does give you access to a highlighted version of your text, I want you to understand where your text is. If you click right over here to this hyperlink right here and click on that, keep in mind, this is the actual version of the text. I know it's highlighted here, but that's only because I highlighted it when I read it. But this is your actual version of the text. So if you click on this menu icon right here for the contents, you can kind of see all the different chapters that you have. You can drill down or skip to various different sections. But I do encourage you to get familiar with your textbook, not just through the LearnSmart, but also through the full textbook access so you can see what all is available to you. For instance, there are appendices back here that kind of give you tutorials on software programs like Excel or Tableau, which we're going to be using throughout this semester. So you may find that information useful, and I want you to understand how you can access it. Okay, this is the primary items that I wanted to note from Connect. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. But if we refer back to the syllabus that we were looking at, the next thing we were going to talk about was Cubicle. So I want to make sure you're understanding that as well. Again, if you've purchased access to Cubicle, you'll log into cubicle.com and you should show up somewhere. You'll have a landing page, but wherever you do get to on your landing page, ultimately you're gonna want to go to paths here. So once you click on your paths, it should load all the paths that are available to you. And what you're going to go to is Accounting 341. Not 431, keep that in mind because that's a different course, but Accounting 341. So once you click on Paths and Accounting 341, it will show you all the different trainings that you're going to go through for this class. Keep in mind, if you've had my accounting course in the past and just taken the introductory one, I only made you watch videos in that class. I did not make you complete the certificates and actually take the test for each one of these trainings. But because this is now your second accounting course, you will have to complete the exam and get the completion certificate for each one of these courses. So keep in mind, it's going to be a little bit more work when you do that because now we are going to really apply Excel and Tableau. In your first introductory accounting course, you sort of got a taste of those programs. In this course, we're going to apply it a lot more. So you will need to complete the completion certificate. So budget that into your time as you start to incorporate these trainings. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about for Cubicle and for Connect. So now let's go back to the syllabus and keep going down. In terms of course policies, this is an online class, so you're not attending physically, but keep in mind, I do expect you to be engaged with material throughout each week. You'll find that the way the course is designed, I've listed out every single week that we're going to cover. You'll find in each week, I'll be posting each week instructions for the week that tells you what you should do, your different steps that you should do. Also give you some reminders under here. So these notes are just sort of reminders that I have here, but the steps are the steps that you should actually complete each week. And then you'll see the chapters that you should be covering within those steps. I've listed out the chapters, but you'll see chapter material for each week listed here as well on Brightspace. And so I do expect you to engage with the material, even though you're not actually physically attending a class. I do expect you to engage with the material and follow those weekly instructions to stay up to date with the course. Okay, let's scroll down to civil discourse. Keep in mind that regardless of whether we're in person or communicating online, we do adopt the civil discourse policy that William Jewell states and has. And so keep in mind you're treating everyone with respect, regardless of your means of communication. We also adopt the academic integrity and honor code policy, which means you're being honest in the work that you're completing. And so familiarize yourself with different violations that we have here and also prescriptions on how to stay in line with that academic policy. We also adopt the learning accommodations policy here. So if there's a accommodation that you believe that you would qualify for, and I just want you to keep in mind that there's a lot of different subject matter that falls into the area of accommodations. Sometimes students don't realize that things like test anxiety can also fall under that area. So if you feel like you would benefit from a discussion there, just follow the instructions that are listed here on this policy. We do have a policy that we have to follow to get those accommodations established and in place, but I absolutely will work with you on that. So please feel free to let me know if that applies here. There is a general schedule that we have listed here, but I'm going to provide you with a more detailed schedule, which I'll show here in just a minute. But you can look over this sort of general overall. It's an overall school schedule for various different days that you want to be familiar with. Let's skip down to the drop ab policy. Because this particular course that we're looking at is a second 7-week course. For this semester, at least, your last day to add this class is going to be on October 18th, and your last day to drop this class is going to be on October 25th if you want to drop without a W on your transcript. If you want to drop with a W, then it's just the last day, regular day of the semester listed here. Keep in mind that I reserve the right to change the syllabus and the schedule if needed, but I will try to minimize that. That is not my intention. I just have to kind of state that it may be a possibility, but I will always try to communicate with you if something like that happens. In terms of late assignment policy, our department policy is that as long as you turn the assignment in within 24 hours, I can accept the assignment with a 25% grade reduction. If you turn it in within 1 week of the assignment due date, I can accept it with a 50% grade reduction. If you turn it in after a week, barring any sort of extenuating circumstances, I won't be able to accept it for credit. And then just kind of communicate with me if there's any illnesses or emergencies or something. It's always better to communicate ahead of time if possible, but sometimes that's not. And if you do, I will try to do my best to work with you if we need to extend due dates or something like that, so long as you're communicating with me beforehand or providing me context as to why you couldn't. Same thing with tests, quizzes, any other assessment too for that. Okay, let's scroll down to course requirements. So what is required in this course? Well, one thing is the homework problems. I already mentioned those on Connect. So those are your application problems. We saw those for each chapter. The Learn Smart, those are the reading assignments for each chapter. Discussion boards, there'll be 3 discussion boards throughout the semester. Your first one is just going to be simply a self-introduction discussion board. So you'll see that in the week 1 assignments, or I should say the week 1 module, and then kind of right below actually this introductory video you post in the week instructions, you should see the first discussion board there. We'll also have 2 exams within the semester covering half of the chapter content for the first exam and the second half of the chapter content for the second exam. It will not be, the second exam won't be comprehensive. It'll just cover the second half of the class, and the first exam will cover the first half of the class. You'll also have Connect, Excel, and Tableau cases and simulations. In other words, your labs that I mentioned to you, where you'll get application not just of the concepts, but also the software tools. And so that'll be on Connect as well for each one of the chapters that we showed previously. And you'll also have your cubicle trainings, again, which we showed previously to get you familiar with each one of the course software tools that we're using as well. So overall, here's how your grade breaks down. Your Learn Smart overall is worth 14% of your grade. Your problems are worth 20% of your grade. Discussion boards are worth 6%. Your Connect, Excel, and Tableau labs are worth 20% of your grade. Your cubicle trainings are worth 10%, and your exams are worth 30% of your grade. The grading scale that we use is A, B, C, D, F. Listed below here are the topics and assignments that are going to be for each week. But I'm going to give you again a more detailed breakdown here in just a minute. Last thing I want to make reference to is if you have technology issues. So first, if you have technology issues for Connect, you can access their helpline by calling this number or by using a live chat option. And I give you a link to kind of help you both with some resources that exist, as well as you can navigate to the chat option if you do need help from there. The other thing is Cubicle. If you run into issues there, I give you contact support. So here's your contact for Cubicle. So if you need to purchase your Cubicle license and you haven't got a link to do that, you can reach out to Stephen Fitzachary and he will help you with that process. Of course, you can always reach out to me too, and I will try to help steer you in the right direction. Although, with Connect and Cubicle, while I sometimes can offer guidance, sometimes it's a software issue on their end. And so you'll simply have to reach out directly to them if that's the case. But I can always help to try to field that first if you'd feel comfortable reaching out to me too. There is tutoring for this class if that's something that you're interested in, and you will follow the Student Success Brightspace course in order to access that. And then finally, any apps or programs that are recommended. So Excel is recommended. That comes free with your Microsoft 365 subscription through Joule. Tableau, I have secured you all a free license for Tableau, and I'm going to show you that here in just a minute. And then a few other sort of apps that you can access Connect or features of Connect. And this is all completely free. For instance, SmartBook and LearnSmart allow you to complete your LearnSmart assignments on your phone or on your iPad or something like that. If you'd like to do that, Read Anywhere allows you to download a PDF version of your textbook so that you can listen to it. It can read to you, that sort of thing. So if you have any questions on any of that, please feel free to let me know. Okay, so with all that in mind, let's talk about how you access Tableau, because I told you that's going to be an important part. So if we went to General Course Informations and then Additional Course Resources, and then we click on the Tableau download instructions here, that will get you if you download the file, get you a Word document that looks like this. And then this, if you follow these hyperlinks here, it'll download the Tableau desktop for you. And then you can use this product key to get a free 1-year license for Tableau. And so that's how you will access Tableau when you start to do various different exercises that uses that visualization software. And if you're not familiar with it, don't worry, we're going to teach you as we move throughout the class. Next thing that I want to make sure you're aware of is the textbook student-wide resources. So you'll see this in some of the videos that are already posted here where you work with various different data sets. But if you click onto this document, and I recommend, again, downloading the document, once you do, you'll have these hyperlinks that you can click through, and they will give you access to various different data files so that you might be using throughout the class. So this is going to be an important resource as well for you as you try to complete, especially as you're sort of walking through the textbook and they may be doing an example exercise. This is where you'll find those data sets to work with. Okay, let's finish up any of these other sort of files that are important for this overview. And we're almost done here, but let's look at the homework calendar schedule is the next item I want to make you familiar with. If you download that file, it's going to look like this. So again, I told you I would give you a more detailed week by week what it is that you should be doing. This first page of this file is what I call the class planner. And so on this file, it will tell you the week start date and end date, It'll tell you what topics you should be looking at that week. It'll tell you what assignments you should be completing that week and where you can find those assignments, like where you should be turning those assignments in. Keep in mind, this will complement your weekly instructions that I'm going to give to you here in a minute, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But this gives you a simple one-page planner that you kind of go week to week by. All your assignments are going to be due at the end of each week period. So if you scroll to the second page here, you'll see all of your assignment due dates that are listed here. So each one of your chapters, assignment due dates, and you'll find that they're due at the end of that week at 11:59 p.m. for their respective locations here. So first tab is a planner of what you should be thinking about. Second tab or second page is going to be simply all of your due dates that are listed throughout the semester. Your third page here is going to be your breakdown, detailed breakdown of your grades. So I told you I'd show you, for instance, how much each Learn Smart reading assignment is worth. So it's worth 14 points individually. Your problems worth 20 points. Discussion boards worth 20 points apiece. Your Connect, Excel, and Tableau cases in total are worth 200. So that doesn't mean each individual one is worth 200, but collectively all of them, because they're all turned in at the end of the semester. So I just assigned them the single grade in total is worth 200 points. Your cubicle in total is worth 100 points, and then each test is worth 150 points. So that's this file. If we go down to the next file in the general course information, here's my office hours, and this is just sort of a visual representation of when my office hours are and when I'm in class and that sort of thing, so you can use this to refer to. But again, if you need to reach me to set a different time for us to meet, just reach out via email. And then here's that link that you'll use once you do reach out via email so that we can Zoom chat. So again, you can look over the rest of these. I talked about the main ones that we had here in this one, the Connect instructions here, the cubicle Dropbox of where you'll submit your cubicle assignments. Now let's just go to the each individual week. So within each individual week, you'll see me post at the start of each one of the weeks here, week instructions. So if you go to week 1 instructions, you'll see listed out here what it is that you're supposed to do each week. So each step that you should follow through, and you'll just time this out as to when you want to complete this. It's just all due by the end of the week, but whenever you want to do it, that's when you should do it. And then I give you some notes that I want to just keep on your radar. For this particular week, for week 1, I told you that there'll be a discussion board where you'll post an introduction to yourself. And so I've given you that assignment here and then an example from me, which gives you a little bit of my background as well. And because you may not be creating video, I don't want to sort of steal thunder. So you can just kind of look at a little bit of background from me from this example post that I gave you here. After your week instructions, what you'll see below is all the relevant chapters for that week. So for instance, for this first week, and we can tell that by looking at this calendar schedule here. For week 1, we're just doing the introduction of the course, which is basically this video, and kind of getting familiar with Connect and Cubicle and then Brightspace overall. But then after you've got familiar with that, you've gone through this video, your next step is really just to complete chapter 1. And so that's all you're really doing for this first week here. And so you can see that the chapter that's relevant to week 1 is chapter 1 here. The materials that I give you for the chapter, you'll have the PowerPoints that you'll see me talk about in the videos. I've created videos for each one of the learning objectives within the chapter. And I've created your links for each one of your homework assignments within Connect. And then I've created select homework video solutions. So if there's a problem on there that you might benefit from a tutorial of how to walk through that problem, or I felt that you might benefit from that, I've created a homework solution video to kind of help you navigate that as well. And as you look through each one of these documents, keep in mind on that weekly instruction, I sort of give you what you should focus on. So for instance, for this week 1, you're going to watch the course overview video, which is a video you're watching right now. Then you're going to register for your Connect course. You'll introduce yourself through discussion board number 1. You will read chapter 1 and review the PowerPoints that you'll find under the Brightspace course and watch the chapter videos that are made for the first chapter. Then you'll complete your chapter 1 Learn Smart assignment. Then you'll complete your chapter 1 problems. And as needed, you can review or you you can review your chapter 1 homework solution videos. Can you complete this in a different order or sort of skip some of those steps? Sure, so long as you're turning in all the assignments and you feel comfortable with the material. Then the other things that I tell you to keep in mind, at least in this first week, is that you'll have to complete your cubicle training videos, the completion certificates, by the end of the semester. So keep that on your radar. Do you have to do it this week? No, it's up to you, but don't get too far behind because you'll need to complete it by the end of the semester. Also, you'll need to complete your Connect, Excel, and Tableau labs by the end of the semester. Do you need to do it this week? No, it's up to you. I probably would try to stay up to date with each one of the chapters, but it's up to you. You just need to know that it's on your radar and that it'll have to be completed by the end of the semester. And then keep in mind that as you're progressing it further and further through the chapters, you're going to have to take an exam eventually on these chapters. And so your first exam is going to be over the first chapters 1 through 3 and 5 through 6. And then your second exam will be over chapters 8 through 12. And so you should be preparing for your exam as we go through the chapter. Make sure you're studying the material and feeling comfortable with it as well. And so that's what you'll find in each one of the weeks. I'll try to make sure that that is available to you. I'll try to be as close as I can to the start of each week so that you can have all this information available and instructions, and really you'll just go at your own pace then. Otherwise, I think that is pretty much what you'll need to know for this class. So I'm just making sure here that there was nothing else I wanted to mention, but I think that is it. So if you have any questions as you go through this material, please feel free to let me know. I'm always happy to help. And you can connect with me by stopping by my office, room 109 in Jewell Hall, or you can reach out via email and we can always have a Zoom chat. I'm really looking forward to the semester. I'm looking forward to teaching you all about cost managerial accounting and connecting with you as the semester progresses. So I hope you have a great start to this class. If you have any questions or need anything else, please feel free to let me know.